Welcome to This Week in Gaming, and we have yet another week of AAA releases launching alongside indie hits, with Bungie's next IP Marathon and Slay the Spire 2 bringing Steam to its knees. Arc Raiders players were hit with an insane privacy intrusion, Xbox announced their next console, and much more. Bungie's sci-fi extraction shooter launched on Tuesday to very positive reviews and 88,000 concurrent players. And while that number is significantly lower than their free-to-play test, which I guess should be expected, it's still pretty respectable considering how divisive the game has been with critics. Most people seem to agree that the gunplay is on par with Bungie's best efforts in the FPS world, but the art direction for the game has a lot of people, well, just not loving the vibe. We'll have to wait and see how it pans out for Marathon. It sounds like Bungie have major plans for the immediate post-launch content updates. Reporting suggests that the review embargo guidelines said to delay reviews until endgame content is released later this month. According to Rock Paper Shotgun, the guide said there is no embargo on any coverage, impressions, live streams, VODs, or assets. You can publish content as you play the game. However, we ask you to hold your full review and impressions until you play Cryo Archive, Marathon's pinnacle endgame zone and experience, which will be unlocked in the second half of March. To be clear, this isn't a mandate, but a request or suggestion. Now, ultimately, it'll be up to players to decide what the future of Marathon holds. Bungie clearly have a lot invested in the game, and in many ways that effort is very clear, and fans who are enjoying the art style and the world crafting are absolutely loving it. Regardless of some of the more divisive critic reviews, if the Steam reviews are positive, then it could be a very bright future for Marathon. Now, speaking of Marathon, it seems like the combined launch of Bungie's extraction shooter and the new deck builder Slay the Spire 2 broke Steam. Both games launched at roughly the same time, and users of the platform were reporting issues with buying games, browsing store pages, and other connectivity problems. Issues were sorted out quickly though, and so far Slay the Spire 2 has hit over 430,000 concurrent players. Arc Raiders is under fire for a bug leaking Discord DMs of players. Specifically, players that opted into the game's Discord integration were having DMs saved as plain text files on their PC if they came in while the game was running. In addition to the DMs, there was also a Discord authentication token stored in the file. Access to this file could give malicious actors access to your Discord account and disrupt plenty of things. That said, gaining access to the file would require a secondary intrusion of your PC on top of the bug itself, so chances are your Discord data is relatively safe. The bug was fixed quickly after it was discovered via a hotfix. That said, the bigger question is, how did game integration get access to Discord DMs, and how did they end up in a plain text file stored locally? Those seem like things that shouldn't be happening without explicit permission from users in big, bold letters. There's been a ton of stuff going on with Xbox recently. The newly appointed Xbox CEO, Asha Sharma, revealed their next console. Codenamed Project Helix, it'll be a next-generation console that can play both Xbox and PC games. Xbox will be talking to studios and partners at GDC about the upcoming device, but beyond that, no details were shared. Now, personally, I've been screaming at Xbox to do this for years. It seems kind of like the obvious play to make the PC gaming market accessible to console gamers. Valve clearly has the same idea with their Steam machines, and with the delay and potential price hike for the Steam machine, it might open up a window for Xbox to do something amazing here. Now, in related news, Sony are allegedly going in the absolute opposite direction. Reporting suggests that PlayStation has canceled PC ports of Ghost of Yotei and the upcoming survival action game Seros. Reporting suggests that recent ports have not met sales expectations and could even be hindering PlayStation 5 sales. However, at least one industry analyst, Newzoo, has data showing that the issue might be PlayStation's delayed release of PC ports. According to the data, ports launched after the console version of the game accounted for around 13% of the total player base, but ports that launch at the same time account for nearly 44% of the player base. Now, there's no question that if you're going to do a big marketing push for launch, you really want the game available on all platforms so that people who hear about the game due to the big marketing push will have an opportunity to buy it. If you only have a PC and not a PlayStation, and you hear about the game during the big marketing push and then you don't hear about the PC launch later, well, you're less likely to buy that game. There's also speculation, of course, that Sony is trying to bolster the value of the PlayStation by bringing back console exclusives. With so much pressure to hybridize PC and console gaming, it could render the PlayStation obsolete if that goes into effect. Perhaps Sony are trying to prevent that from happening. Now, speaking of titles that may go back to exclusivity, well, there's God of War, and Amazon released their first promotional image for their upcoming God of War TV series starring Ryan Hurst as Kratos. And well, the reaction is a bit mixed. Of course, it's worth pointing out that the show hasn't even started filming yet, so this is likely just a heavily photoshopped costume test and won't represent the final quality of the show, but hopefully Amazon can dial in the visuals to something that feels more appropriate for a TV show. There's always a weird jump between game and TV show that is hard to deal with because, well, frankly, a lot of games are very campy and people are more accepting of that campiness in the game environment. And once you push it to TV, you go, well, this doesn't feel real at all because it's campy. It's based on a video game. Highguard is officially canceled. The maligned MOBA, raider shooter, whatever you want to call it, is going offline on March 12th. As a final send-off, the remaining developers at Wildlife have launched a major content update for the game that includes account progression, a skill tree, a new weapon, and a new playable character. It's never a happy moment to see a game fail. Clearly, there was a lot of developers that put a lot of time and effort into this game, and even after launch really believed that they could maybe bring it back with some patches and quality of life updates. But players weren't coming back, and the concurrent player count on PC had dipped into the triple digits just weeks after launch. Activision and Epic Games went after leakers hard this week. Activision threatened a prolific Call of Duty leaker with legal action if they didn't stop. They have since announced their retirement. Epic are actually suing a former contractor and associate producer at the company for leaking Fortnite info under the name Adira FN Info on Twitter. It's pretty crazy to see such a prominent leaker turn out to be an actual employee of the company. They were allegedly the game's biggest leak account. Resident Evil Requiem is blowing past Capcom's sales records. In less than a week, it sold over 5 million copies, making it the fastest selling game in the series. And while the publisher's all-time record is held by Monster Hunter Wilds with 8 million copies sold in 3 days, it is a big step up from Resident Evil's Village, which was 3 million units sold in under 4 days. Apparently, PC sales also account for 50% of Capcom's overall sales, and that percentage is still growing. Wink wink to Sony. The Trump administration may have its sights set on Tencent for a big tech company crackdown. Reporting suggests that the administration is holding meetings to determine if Tencent's bold and massive investment in Western companies is a risk to national security. Tencent is investing in basically every major game studio and publisher on Earth. Breaking up Tencent holdings would obviously be a major shift for the industry, and it's unclear who would pick up the pieces if it happened. Hypixel have announced a $100,000 modding competition for their early access survival game, Hytale. Modders can submit their work across 3 categories: World Gen version 2, NPCs, and experiences. And the contest is being positioned as a means of finding and rewarding talented modders for their efforts. Submissions are currently open until April 28th on the game's CurseForge page. Personally, I am a huge fan of this. Not enough games give back to the community and the modders who are making their games much better. I'm surprised that more companies don't try and make a bigger effort behind this, considering what modders have done to Roblox and Fortnite. It has become a huge economy and blown up those game platforms. It just seems to make a lot of sense to try and do what you can to support the modders. Now, I'd be really curious to hear what you guys think about Marathon in the comments. So far, I think the most divisive point about the game is really its UI and art style. And then there's, of course, a bigger emphasis on PvP and its world being compared to Arc Raiders, but a lot of people like it. I've actually enjoyed it. I haven't fully made up my mind on it yet. And if you guys want to see a gameplay Marathon video, check out this one right here. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap, signing off.